Hi and welcome to Linus Napoleonic Shipyard. Today we're going to do an unboxing of a package I got sent by a friend. Very exciting. This is one of the most exciting packages I ever received, I think. And I'm not sure exactly what's inside, so this is going to be quite exciting. I guess what I'll do, because right now I am looking at the letter written by the person who sent me the package. So I'll probably add in some images, better images, because the lighting is not perfect down here in my little house. So I'll add in some images of the actual models, a little bit more close up and so on, as a background to this initial look at what's coming. So before opening it, what I would like to do is summarize. And I want to summarize the background that came with these models. And this is taken directly from a letter by the person who made them. He prefers not to be named, which I completely respect. And I'm also pointing out very clearly that this is not a commercial venture or anything, or even related to gaming. Although I will most definitely be using these models for gaming, I guess, because I think I'm going to like them a lot. So that's the premise of these models. He explains that his interest in models developed gradually and almost by accident, but built on early exposure to naval fiction, particularly C.S. Forster, and a long-standing intermittent interest in modeling. What focused that interest was encountering at roughly the same time small-scale Napoleonic warship models in 1/700 scale, alongside very finely executed larger-scale models of Shannon and Chesapeake. The appeal of the smaller scale was that it allowed detailed, accurate ships without the space requirements of larger builds, and this we encounter all the time, right? I love large wooden models, and I am fully intending to build me some. But you build that, you better either have someone who wants it, or you better have the space, because they are large, right? They could be a meter long. This is the advantage of the scale that we're working in. 1/700 scale, one maybe 350 scale, allows for a nice diorama in a limited space. His intention was to model Shannon and Chesapeake to a similar standard as those models that he saw and was inspired by. As well as other familiar ships from literature and history and so on, like Indefatigable, Boudica, Lively, Bodicea. Bodicea is the right way to say it in English, right? Sometimes, I'm sorry I butcher your beautiful language. African, Megacien, also the French, I probably butcher that as well. And Sophie, I mean, of course, Sophie is fictional, but that is something, a ship that we probably all like, and even if she looks different in the fiction, the historical inspiration is definitely HMS Speedy and Cochrane, right? So that's a nice ship to have as a model. When they found that many of these ships did not exist as kit or as finished models, he turned to primary and secondary reference material, including Gardiner and translated volumes of Boudra is it, right? And related works covering construction methods, materials, fittings, and arrangement of the 17th and 18th century warship. And corresponding with this person, I have to say he's very, very meticulous. One of the most meticulous person I ever met. Knowledgeable. He knows a lot of this stuff. To make it possible, he also had to teach himself 3D modeling, starting with small components such as wheels, gratings, stern lanterns, and similar fittings, and gradually progressing to complete ships. He now works primarily in 1/700 and 150 scale, with the latter intended for Shannon and Chesapeake. Although his first prototype at that scale is the Artois-class frigate Seahorse, which is an amazing work so far. The pictures I've seen look stunning. I mean, more than stunning. I'm amazed. He had then to learn the practical aspects of 3D printing, like machine limitations, settings, failure modes, and so on, as part of the same process. He describes the digital workflow as functionally similar to building a plastic kit, except that each component must first be designed before assembly. Working from draughts, he established a baseline dimension for elements such as deck planting widths, rails heights, stanchions, quarterdeck rails, and hammock cranes, refining these through trial and error. In the case of Seahorse, he was able to compare the draughts with a contemporary model held by the Royal Museums in Greenwich, which helped resolve details often absent from plans, including aspects of the figurehead, decoration, and paint scheme. He notes that while he aims to follow the plans as closely as possible, some features must be modified to make them printable or paintable at the scale. Coronade carriages, for example, are designed to reduce the risk for paint contamination during finishing. Transom decoration is beveled or curved to make the brushwork more manageable. And lettering on the lower transom is deliberately enlarged to allow dry brushing and outlining. In some cases, additional trim is added around gun ports to help achieve clean lines when painting. He also describes how building Endymion from different draughts highlighted the effects of refits. She was refitted from 18-pounders to 24s, right? Including changes to gun ports, gangways, and the waist when heavier guns were fitted. He chose not to include certain fittings, such as additional waist gratings and stern lanterns based on period practice and Admiralty orders, indicating these features were being reduced or eliminated by the end of the Napoleonic Wars. He emphasizes that the work is done for personal satisfaction rather than for sale, and I can't overstate this. This is important to him. A small number of physical models were shared privately in appreciation for assistance and encouragement, and I'm very thankful for this. This is very, very nice of him. Fantastic to share them with me. And I mean, this box, it's going to reflect the process that this person has had and his decisions and so on. So it's a story in itself, this unboxing. And so without further ado, and I'm not sure if it's an unboxing, if I'm going to show too much of the models, or if we're going to be looking as I'm talking here at some historical ship paintings maybe to start things up. And then as we move into the unboxing and so on, I might add some stills of these models with a better lighting. Okay, let's see what we got. So I'll deliberately cut out the name here before I started. So when I started a ship channel, I never thought I'd be doing unboxings, but it's not the first one I made, right? Because I've done some other unboxing of some Warley game stuff and so on. It's actually quite fun. I hope you guys enjoy it as well. So let's see. There we go. So he already told me that these are printed in 16K on a 16K printer. So I guess they could be a little fragile. So let's see what I can do to get this out. Might actually have to move this off camera as I'm taking the packing out. So that's the box. So I'm just going to show you these the boxes that came in the main box that I just unboxed here, and I'm not going to show the outside of these boxes because there's a name on there that I don't want to show. So I'm just going to show you them as they are opened and try to give some commentary. What I'm probably going to do also as I do this is I'm gonna make some stills of the actual models and show them to you in different lighting and angles and so on, because the light here is pretty bad. So this is just the first impression of the models in the box, and these are printed in 16K, so a very high quality print. I don't think you could get the amount of detail that I see here in a lesser scale, like in 8K or so on. I'm pretty sure you need to go all in on the detail. I just zoomed in here so you can see the different models. The top one here, that's actually Sophie, I can read here. The light is pretty rough on my eyes here. It's blue, black on blue background. So, but I'm gonna show you them from the side, and I'm gonna put the names on the different ships here so you can see them better as I'm talking more general about the commentary. Let me see if I can try and read some names here. So that's Sophie, and then there is, looks like Lively in 2 versions here. I mean 2 prints of the Lively. And then there's the Endymion. Looks like the Endymion. And that's also, but that's actually 2 fits. So that's pre-refit and after the refit here of Endymion. And then we have at the bottom here with that stern, can only be with, and also see a picture, is the Pomone. So that's the ship, the French ship that actually inspired the Endymion. And I'm sure this is probably, I can't remember what my friend said, but I think this is the British, after British took her, of course, and then this is the British fit of her. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to ask. I can't remember exactly. I don't remember how it would look on the side. I haven't looked into Pomone too much. But it's another one of those amazing ships, and it has that stern, like almost like a poop deck, right? Or like a raised stern, more space. And the detail here is amazing, guys. I'm gonna have to do this from the side, but there is some stuff here that I can see. There is figureheads on these ships that I need to take closer pictures of in better light, and there is some detailing here on the decks that I just haven't seen before. The hammock netting already that's actually like printed, very fine detail printed in the, I know I talked to him that it could be covered. He says it can be covered with silk span, which I'm definitely going to try, so you get that authentic look of canvas covering the hammock nettings there. But this is going to be a challenge. I mean, these are so detailed, and I got a hold of an Excel app that translates. It's basically for larger scales, but I've seen that it works for 1/700 scale as well. So I'm going to try when I'm making masts. Of course, that's to British measurements, so I'm going to have to look into changing it up if I'm making a French or a Spanish ship and so on. But for the British ship, I have pretty much the standards of the different times. And then you'll have to look, maybe you'll have to adjust it a little bit according to what ship it is. I mean, it goes from, you basically feed it the data, like the class size of the ship, and then also its beam and its length, and it gives you data like mast heights, different mast section heights, and yard arms and so on. So you have a standard to go from. Also the diameters at the bottom and the top of each section, so you can get that taper on the sections. But amazing detail, and I can't wait to try some of this out. Some of this will actually go on and this my friend knows that I'm actually going to use some of these for a commission. So that person is very lucky getting some of these amazing models on a commission, and of course I'm going to try to do my very best on them as well. So that's the first box. the contents of the first box there, or these ships, including the Sophie, which is a fictional ship, but definitely deserves to be in, right? It's the ship of Captain Aubrey, his first command, right? And of course, it's also an inspiration from a historical ship, the HMS Speedy, right? Of course, it doesn't look like a Speedy because it has a different look, but this is the probable look of the Sophie, and I can't wait to do her. I'm very thankful to get a chance here with this. So let's look at the next box here. So what do we have here? And I'm going to try to do the names later. I think I really don't want to risk trying to get this off, because I don't want to break any of the detail, and they're taped on here. Nah, I really don't want to risk it. Yeah, okay, I could. So this is the Cleopatra, and it's a 32 gun, I think, if I remember it. Smaller frigate. Oh, that detail is amazing. I don't think it's going to show very well, so I'm going to have to do a speedy. But you can see they're tiny. It's 1/700 scale, so it's tiny compared to my fingers. Don't want to touch it too much and break any details, especially those rails, also the hammock netting and all that stuff. It's very tiny. The cannon are more scaled for a diorama, so to say. You're gonna be doing. I mean, this would be a little fragile for a game, maybe. I think with all that detail, I'm definitely gonna have some for my own fleet now that I have a chance. Even with this detail, I'm very careful with my models and never touch anything but the base, even when we're playing with them. So hopefully you see some of this in a game eventually, and I'm definitely gonna do spinnies, and you're gonna get all the names of the different hulls here as I get to them. But amazing detail here. And if you're familiar with Turner's work, Turner makes models for war games, right? 1/700 scale among others, and that's very detailed. But what's different here is basically the level of detail that's just a little bit up. And as I said in the intro there, these are definitely not a commercial venture. I mean, so this is more a work of passion, and I was shared a couple of models for because this person is very friendly, I have to say. And those are some of the fighting tops. And I know I was told, yeah, they have I'm gonna have to take a side picture. They have those cheeks on them. I tried to make some of the cheeks in brass, and that was almost impossible. Very difficult to make cheeks in brass. Yeah, so I'm sorry, I thought I'm going to be talking more. I think I'm going to let the models speak for themselves. I'm going to make some videos with them close up in detail. The light here is too bad to show the quality. But I wanted to do an unboxing, and this guest house is where I could do it for now. So I hope you got an initial idea, and then as I'm recording this, I'm going to add in the footage of the models from the sides. It's an interesting world we live in, where you can actually print these things with such a detail in 16K. Amazing work. I am so excited to get going and see what I can get done with these models. So I think the last part here is just I'm going to go through all the models with some shots from the sides and so on, and the names, and then you can have a look at them yourself. Unpainted, of course. So once they are painted, I'm sure all this detail is going to pop so much more, but I really don't want to base, maybe I'll base one of them just to show the detail. We'll see how I'll do that. But again, thank you so much for sharing some of your fantastic work with me, and for agreeing with me doing a little, this is me asking about doing a video on the models, and I just said I would like to show them, and this person agreed, and here we are with all this amazing work being done. So I think I'm gonna just leave you with some classical music to enjoy these master classes in the art of ship making 1/700 scale. So until next time, I wish you all fair winds, and yeah, following seas.